Hi, in this tutorial I will show you how you can deploy a Windows Forms app using Visual Studio. So basically the goal is to be able to install our Windows Forms application, which is created in Visual Studio, and install it on another PC that do not have Visual Studio. We will start by exploring the publish functionality in Visual Studio, both the folder option and the ClickOnce option. Then we will use an additional package called Visual Studio Installer Projects to create a proper installer or setup of our Windows Forms application in Visual Studio. By using this option we can create more advanced installers. By default, Visual Studio Installer Project is not default installed as part of Visual Studio, so you need to install it using the extensions menu from Visual Studio. Let's start by exploring the publish functionality, which is part of Visual Studio. So let's just create a simple WinForm application. So let's just create a basic Hello World application using Visual Studio, and then we will publish that application and install that application on another computer that do not have Visual Studio installed. So then I have opened my Visual Studio, and then I just select create new project, click on this one, and then I select or search for Windows Forms. And here I have this Windows Forms app template. I'm going to use C#, and it should be on a desktop application. So then click next. Just a simple Hello World application, which I will put on my hard drive. I have created a folder here called Hello World, which I put my application inside. Click next. I choose the latest framework. Great. And that's our application. I will not create an advanced application. I will just change the title here from Form 1 to Hello World, like this, and then let's just run this application. So that's our basic Hello World application, and we will now see how we can install or publish this application to another computer that do not have Visual Studio installed. So the simplest option is to basically just go to your location of your application, go to the bin folder, and here you have debug. If you here select release instead and click build solution. So you will also have a release folder here. So, but involved in debug, here you will have an executable application. So basically, you can just copy these files to the computer where you want to use that application. And the same in this release folder here. So basically, I can just copy these applications. These files to another PC, and then I can run my application without using Visual Studio. So here I have already created another computer. I'm using something called Oracle Virtual Manager in order to create a virtual machine, which I have here. So here I have virtual machine running inside Oracle VirtualBox. So basically now here I'm in this virtual environment. I can now basically just copy the files from my computer, my host computer, to this computer. So I just go to a temporary folder here, go back to my computer, and then I find my files here in the release folder here. Basically I can just drag the files to this another computer. I can just change the name for it, change it to hello world in my case, like this. So basically now I can just click on hello world.exe in order to start my application. So that's the simplest way to deploy your Windows Forms application to another computer. But let's also introduce some other options. If you have more advanced application, you may need to use some of the other alternatives. So a better option is to use the built-in publish functionality. You just click on the project in Visual Studio and in Solution Explorer, select publish, and here you have options, different options. Let's start with the folder option. So then just select folder, click next, click folder, and then here you need to specify a folder location. So then here where I have my application here, this is my application. Here I can just type a new folder, call it publish, and then create a subfolder called hello world in my case, like this. And then I will use that folder here, click browse, go to my computer, to the temp folder I have created, select hello world, publish, and then hello world again, and then this will be the folder where I will publish my application. So then just click finish here, click close. If I go to this folder, so far it should be empty, so then I just need to click on this button here, publish, and then you see it starts to build and publish my application, publish completed, etc. And then you see the necessary files has been created here. So then I can go back to my second computer which I have here. I can just drag this folder to that computer and then click on the hello world.exe in order to start my application like this. And now our application is running without Visual Studio. A second option is something called ClickOnce. So then here in my profile we just created, I just delete it like this. And then again I click on the project hello world, select publish, and then in this window I click or select ClickOnce, click next, and then here also I need to select a folder. So then let's just use the same folder which we created here under publish and hello world. So let's just delete my old files here like this, and then select the same folder, publish and hello world, click select folder, click next. Here you have different options from a website, etc. I just selected this default one from a CD, DVD or a USB drive. Basically I just save the files to this folder we just created here. Click next, and here you can specify a version of your software or your installer. So the default one is 1000, and then you can choose to select this one, automatically increment revision. So every time you publish a new version of your application, this will increment automatically. We have also different options here under application files. Here you see which files that are included, and you have also options to do different things here, include, etc. Just leave it like this. Here under this option you can choose to include the runtime versions of .NET, because typically when you copy your application or want to deploy your application to another computer, that application may not have the same .NET version as the application is using. So typically you need to install the .NET version on that computer. So then here you have the options to include it, select the same runtime version as your application is using, and just click OK. I just leave it here as select cancel here under options. You can have different names, publisher name, product name, you can have a URL, etc. So you can fill out as much as possible for this information. You also have some other options here, deployment, etc. But I just leave it as it is. So I fill out this information, click OK, and then click Next. Here you can also have a certificate that is part of your application. In order to do that, you need to have a valid certificate. I don't have that on, so I'll just remove it. Click Next. And here you also have some options for your target framework, etc. By default it's OK, so then just click Finish. Click Close, and the same here. No files has been created until you click this Publish button. So now the publish starts, publish successful, and then you see a setup file has been created for your application. So basically now, in order to install this application on another computer, you just need to copy that folder, put it on, send it on email to a person that should install this application, and put it on a memory stick, whatever. In our case, I just have created a virtual machine, which I have here. So basically I just copy these files to that virtual machine, and now I can just select this setup Excel in order to install our application. So now publisher cannot be verified because I don't have a valid certificate, but I just since I'm the publisher, I trust myself. I click Install, and our application will be installed, and now by default it's up and running. I can also click Close it here, search for my application, Hello World, like this, and then I find it here, and then I can open my application. I can also pin it to the task bar, etc. by just right click here, pin to taskbar. So when I now close it, it will be available here. So I can just click here in order to open my application like this. I can also easily uninstall my application by going to the Windows menu, Settings, click Apps, Uninstalled Apps. So here you have a list of all apps that are installed on my computer. Then I select this Hello World, click here, and then I have the uninstall option in order to uninstall my application like this. Remove the application from this computer, OK. And now you see my application has been uninstalled. Now we will use something called a Visual Studio Installer project in order to create an installer for our application. So it's called Visual Studio Installer project, and we will use that feature to create an installer setup for our Windows Forms application in Visual Studio. By using this option, we can create more advanced installers. Visual Studio Installer project is by default not installed as part of Visual Studio, so you need to go to File, Extension, and Manage Extension in order to install that package. You can also download it from directly from the Microsoft Marketplace on the internet. So now we are back in Visual Studio. Basically, we need to go to File here, under the File menu here in Visual Studio, select Extensions, Manage Extensions, and then just type searching for this package. Visual Studio Installer Projects is the name of this package, and then you see here you find it, Microsoft Visual Studio Installer Project 2022, which is the latest version used in combination with Visual Studio 2022. I have already installed it, so now you see it's already installed. So now I'm ready to use it, but if you haven't installed it the first time, you just need to click the install button, and then this package will be installed by you. Then when you have this package installed, then you can just go here to your solution and your project in Visual Studio. Here is my Hello World project in Visual Studio. Then I can just click on solution and then right click, add new project, and then I can search for a setup. And then some new project has been installed by as part of this Visual Studio Installer project package. So we can choose here setup project, web setup project, setup wizard. So I just select this this first project, setup project. Select this one, click next. I can select a proper name for it. Setup. I can call it Hello World Setup. And by default, it will be in the same folder as my Hello World application. Then just click create, and then you see now in my solution I have two projects, this Hello World, which is my application, and then I have the setup project called Hello World Setup in this case. So the next now is to link our application, in our case the Hello World application, to this setup project. So then I can just right click here on the setup project, view, I can select file system, and then this pops up. So here we have different options: application folder, users desktop, and users program menu. So here in the application folder I can right click here, click add, and select project output. Then I just select this one, publish item, make sure to select my project Hello World, make sure it's active, and then just click OK. And then this one has been added under the folder here, application folder. So now we have linked our Hello World application to this setup project. So the next step now is basically we have lots of more options here that I will go through later, but let's just show how we can make an installer. So then basically I just right click here on the Hello World setup project, click build, and then as setup or installer package is building and build completed, then I can go here inside my Hello World application, and here we have the Hello World project, my application, and here I have the Hello World setup project. And here in the debug folder or in the release folder, basically here is the installer that is created for our application. So basically now I can just copy that folder to my virtual machine that we have used earlier, which is here. I can then just drag these files to my second computer here, which is a Windows 11 computer running inside VirtualBox. I can just rename this one to setup or something. Setup Hello World setup, like this. And then basically I can just click on this setup exe in order to install my application. Then I will get through this wizard. Welcome to the Hello World setup wizard. Click next. Here I specify where I want to put my application. I can specify a folder under program files. Hello World, like this. I can select everyone, click next, next, and make sure to select yes here in order to install my application. So now click just close, and now I can go to that location. So let's go to this PC, Windows, program files x86, which is the folder I selected, and hello world. And then here the application has been installed. So then I can basically just click on this hello world.exe in order to start my application. I can also easily uninstall my application by just selecting the setup once more. And here I have option repair or remove, and then I just select remove and click finish in order to remove my application like this. So that's basically how you use this Windows Visual Studio installer project in order to create a basic installer package for your application. So now that we have created a basic setup or installer using this Visual Studio installer projects, so let's go through a more advanced example and some more of the advanced features that is part of this Visual Studio installer projects. So now I have previously created a Windows Forms application called Book System, and it's like this. It's just a list of books, and these books are retrieved from an SQL Server database. And when I click on New, I will get this window where I can add a new book, click Edit an existing book, etc. So basically an existing Windows Forms application that communicates with an SQL Server database. And I want to install this application on another computer that has don't have Visual Studio installed. So let's use this Visual Studio installer project for this application. So here is my book system application. This is the solution file. In the book system folder is the project, and I open this solution in my Visual Studio, and it looks like this. Then let's just run it and see how it works. So basically it's a list of books that are retrieved from an SQL Server database. I can click New, Edit, etc. So now let's create an installer or setup project for this application. So then here in the solution I have the book system, my application, my Windows Forms application, and here under solution I just click Add New Project. Then I just search for setup, and then I have these different setup projects. I use this one, setup project, create a Windows installer project to which files can be added. So then click next, I can call it book app setup or something. Click create, and then you see the book app setup project has been created here. And if I go to my folder, here on the book system, here is the project for the app itself, and here is the project for the setup project. And then here, book app setup, the first thing you need to do is to go here for this file system. If this not is appearing, you can just right click here, view, and select file system, and then this will pop up. So assume I'm deleting it, right click here, view, file system, and then here under application folder I just right click, add project output. I select publish items, make sure my book system project is selected and configuration active, click OK, and then this item will be created. And basically now I can just right click here, click build, and then the project will be built like this, build completed. And then I can go to book app setup here under release, or depending on my selection here, debug or release. Since I have selected debug here in Visual Studio, the setup or installer will be created here under debug. I go here to select change to release, click build, and then on the release the setup files will be created here in the release folder. And then basically I can copy these setup files or installer files to another computer and then install this book app application. But let's include and use some of the more of the features in this setup project. First thing we can do is to add an icon, and then typically I just go to application folder here, right click, add, and select file, and then I need to select a proper icon. Typically you can download an icon from internet, or if you have one available. I have already an icon for my book system app, so I can use that one, and then I just find it here in the book system app and the resources, and then I have this books.ico file which I will use, and then you see this appears here. Next I want to typically create some shortcuts for my application after installation. So after I have installed the application, I want to just click on the shortcut either here on the desktop or in the program menu. So then you have these options, the user's desktop and user's program menu. So let's start with the desktop. Then I just go to application folder, select this one, right click, create shortcut to publish items from a book system active. Select this one. Next, so here is a shortcut created. I start by just change the name, right click on it, and then I can change it to book app or something like this. So now a shortcut has been created, and then I want to use it in I want this shortcut to appear on the desktop, so then I just move it to user's desktop, and then it's here. And also I want to have one shortcut in the program menu, so when I click on Windows or search, I want my app to appear there as well. So then I can just create a new shortcut here in the application folder, click on this item, create shortcut, and also here I can change it to book up like this, and now I just drag it to the user's program menu. So now I have one shortcut here in the desktop and one in the user's program menu like this. Next thing I need to do is to, so now I have created two shortcuts, one for desktop and one for program menu, and now I want to link this icon file that I have created earlier to these shortcuts. So then I start with the user's desktop and select the shortcut book app. Here under icon, I select browse, click browse here, go to applications folder and select this books.ico file like this, click OK, and now this shortcut has been added this icon. I do the same for the other shortcut. Select this one, icon, click browse, application folder and books.icon, select this one, click OK, and also now this one has been added, this icon. So now the shortcuts should be ready. So now I should have a shortcut that should appear on my desktop and in the programs menu after the setup is finished. Next, typically we want to set some properties. So here, if I click on this book app setup here, then you have lots of properties here. One property is, if I just make it a bit larger, some useful properties are manufacturer, and here by default it's just my email address. So assuming I'm a company or something, I have a company called HPH. Manufacturer URL, here I can create a link to a web page or something. So I have a link here called the technical guy Halvorsen blog. So I just copy this URL and put it here in the manufacturer URL like this. And we also have a product name. So by default this name is the same as the setup project, so book app setup, but then my product name in my case is book app. And you have also lots of other properties here, like author. Here's my email by default. I can change it to my name. Like this. So now we have the author is my name, manufacturing is my company name, manufacturer URL is my web address, and product name is changed to Bookup. I'll also change some of the other properties, but let's start with these properties. And one other thing, my application, it's created with .NET Framework 8, so I typically want to include that framework in the installation package, meaning when I install this application on another computer, typically that computer may not have the latest .NET version, so I want to include it in my setup. So then I just right click here on the Bookup Setup project, click Properties. Here you have different options, but I select this one. And here you can create a setup program to install one or more of these components in the list here. So then I just, in my case, select the proper .NET version. So .NET Desktop Runtime 8 or whatever version that your application is using. So then I can just click OK, like this, and then I will be asked to install this .NET runtime during the installation of my software. And just click OK here. So I guess that's some of the most important things that you need to set before you start building your setup project. Of course, here you have lots of more features that you can use. For instance, you can right click here and add special folder. Here you can add different special folders. You can add a start menu. You can use add something to the system folder. You can add specific fonts, etc. So you have lots of options here. Also, you can click on the project here, right click on the project here to select view, and here you have different options in addition to the file system view that we are using. You can set items in the registry. You can change the user interface for the different windows that pops up during the setup. So here you see the different windows that will pop up during the installation of your application. So you can either change them, add additional dialog windows, etc. I will not go into all these features now. So now typically we have the most important things in place. We have added an icon, we have added some shortcuts on the desktop and in the program menu. We have also changed some of the properties here, like manufacturer, manufacturer URL, product name, author, etc. So now basically we should just build our application. Click build here. Build completed, and I go to the release folder here, and then you see the date is correct. So now these are the latest installation files. So then basically I just need to copy these files to another computer. In my case, I just virtual machine here, a Windows 11 computer. Then I just create a folder here, setup or something, and then I just find these setup files here, just drag them over to my second computer like this, and now basically I can just click on this setup exam in order to install my application. So welcome to the Bookup Setup Wizard. Click next, and here you see the folder is in the program files, and this is the manufacturing name, this is the name of the application, so I don't need to change that. I can just use this default folder location. I can select just me or everyone. Click next, and then the application will be installed in that location. Click close, then I can also go to that folder, program files, HPH is my manufacturer name, and here I could have multiple apps within that company. But here is my book app, and here you have lots of files included, but the most important file is this booksystem.exe, which is the name of my application, so I can just double click that one in order to open my application. And then you see my application is working fine. Then I can retrieve values here from my database, but in order to be able to retrieve data from the database, I have to install either an SQL Server, a database here in this computer, or I need to have a remote SQL Server database that I can connect to either on a server in my network or on internet on Microsoft Azure, etc. But in order to be able to communicate with one database, I need to specify or update the connection string, and typically you do that in this file called booksystem.dll.config. I can just right click on it and then edit in Notepad, and inside this file you see my connection string. So then, before I was opening my application by clicking booksystem.exe, I was needed to, in this case, I was installing a local SQL Server Express version of the database here in this virtual machine. And then I needed to create a database. So I have already created a database here called books, and in that database I have created the necessary tables, etc. that my application is using, and that's here you see the name of the database on the SQL Server, which I specified here in the connection string in this configuration file booksystem.dll.config. So that's the name of the SQL Server, that's the name of the database, and then I just use this integrated security equal to true and trusted certificate equals to true. And when this is correct, can then easily open my app and it works as expected. But instead of going to this folder and click here in order to open the application, as part of the installation process, a shortcut has been created here on the desktop, so I can also just double click on that one in order to open my application. And also you see the icon has been part of this shortcut. And also I should create a shortcut in the Windows menu, so then I can just click here, search for book app, and then you see book app. A shortcut has also been created here in the Windows menu, and then I can just click on this one in order to open my application. And also, if you go to the installation folder, you see in addition to the executable file for my application, lots of and also this configuration file and the icon file, lots of DLLs has been included, because my application that communicates with an SQL Server database are in need of all these DLLs. So these DLLs are by default included as part of the installation process. One final thing, now I'm assuming I want to uninstall my application. Then basically I can go to where I have the setup here under this temporary folder. Basically I can just double click again on this setup exe, and then you have the option either repair it, assuming you want to install a new version, then you just copy a new installation package here, and then you can select repair in order to update the existing application. But if you want to delete it, you just click here, remove bookup, in order to remove that application. Another option is to go here in Windows, select settings, apps, installed apps, and then you see how my bookup installed here, and I can just right click here in order to uninstall that application. Click uninstall. So I have already my application open, I need to close it, and then click yes, and then the application is gone from the list here. The shortcut is gone, and under program files also this application has been removed from the program files. So basically that's how you create a setup or installer using Visual Studio in order to install a Windows Forms application on another computer that doesn't have Visual Studio installed. So that's all for now. Thank you and goodbye.